International Equal Pay Day is observed annually on the 18th of September. The date was chosen to emphasize on the struggle for equal pay equity between men, women and girls, and to encourage individuals and organizations to take impressive actions towards closing the gender pay gap. International Equal Pay Day builds on the United Nations commitment to human rights and against all forms of discrimination, including discrimination against women and girls. In order to ensure that no one is left behind, the UN's Sustainable Development Goals promote decent work and equal pay for work of equal value, including the pay of persons with disabilities. And CEO Late Network, Chukwuma Okenwa, joins me to discuss the International Equal Pay Day. Thank you for joining us at this time. Let's talk about the significance of this day. Would you say equal pay is still much of a concern in Africa?
It is very much of a concern, because the disparity still exists. We are, especially like in Africa, we're still very traditional about who provides for what. When it comes to the family, the man is esteemed as the breadwinner and maybe seen as more deserving of some of those considerations, that beyond taking care of himself, he's also committed to some others. But then women are often stereotyped as dependents. And so if they can have like basic salaries without much allowances, especially in the private firms, right? Then they can be able to like cope. So I think such advocacy heightened on such days is commendable and reasonably expected.
Would you say, what extent would you say cultural biases and stereotyping in Nigeria, like you mentioned, contribute to women especially being undervalued in the workforce and also persons with disabilities?
So the idea there is that, there has been that challenge of actually estimating that women can offer almost same value like men. Like the statement that what a man can do, a woman can do better. It's more like a reprisal statement, like someone trying to stamp the feet and say, what, we can do this. But beyond saying that, beyond the rhetorics, I think the male folks must understand that the times have changed. So some of the stereotyping of thinking that there are certain work, especially that has to do largely with the cognitive domain, whether it's in technology, whether it's in science, whether it's in medicine, women are taking the lead and must be esteemed and given that fair chance to play also in the polity. Not just a situation where like we just, say, well, there are certain jobs for women, they can't play here. They don't have like the resilience and the capacity. We've seen women do that before. And when we give them more, more platforms to do that, first by, appointing them into roles that don't require like contentions, through that you can have more women gaining capacity. And with that, I mean, we can see more women contribute to the development of the society and the nation.
Let's look at the role of technology in this. Women are making it big using artificial intelligence and all of that in tech. How do you think digital jobs, technology itself helps reducing the gender pay gap that we see in Africa today?
Interestingly, when for those that are, digitally aware and maybe connected, either maybe in terms of creating content or like a kind of a remote assistantship job, like virtual assistant, it has nothing to do with, your gender. It has everything to do with meeting up with a target, delivering the value. What's your value proposition? What are you bringing to the table? And I think the digital environment has much disrupted that, because some of those consideration of, whether you have some dependence, whether maybe by the virtue of being a male folk, right? In a society where like, people look up to the male folk to virtually do like most things, when it has to do with partnership between the male and female. Like typically in Nigeria, if a man goes out with a woman, you're expected to foot the bill, unlike what is seen in other developed nations. So some of the stereotyping, but I think there are changing times and women are actually rising to the challenges.
I'm still concerned as to why this is still a big issue in Africa. Nigeria has pledged commitment to the UN SDGs. How realistic would you say the equal pay for women and men by 2030, given the slow pace of progress at the moment? We're in 2025.
Well, by 2020, there is no guarantee anyway when we want to look at available data. But I think we're making progress. You know, many more and more is realizing the importance, the place of, you know, giving women as much as pay as the male folk. You know why? Because even in our current day society, there are some families, it's the man, is the woman paying the bills. So times are changing. Unlike before, where maybe like women are not even given much of chance in terms of education, in terms of economic empowerment. And what I consider very disruptive is that when you educate a woman, then you've given her the power to be strong economically. And the more they show that they have got value to bring to the table, the more they make a case for that equal pay. And I think that the pace is the dynamics are changing, but then the pace, the nation need to do more. You know, private sector do need to do more to bring women up to speed because it is deserving. I believe that a worker is deserving of the wages, irrespective of gender.
Well, it's a lot of work from not just the government, civil societies and women themselves in ensuring that, you know, we get equal pay at the moment. But thank you for talking to us. That's a fine place to leave the conversation for now. CEO Late Network, Chukwuma Okenwa. Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
And to other matters, President Emmanuel Macron and his wife, Brigitte, are planning to present photographic and scientific evidence to a U.S. court to prove Mrs. Macron is a woman. The lawyer says they will present the documentation in a defamation lawsuit today brought against the right-wing influencer candidate.